I guess I'm a Ottessa Mosh. I guess I'm a Ottessa Mos. I guess I'm a Ottessa Moshfegh fangirl. All right, we have George here today, and I'm going to try and review Lapvona by Ottessa Moshfegh. Lapvona. This is Ottessa Moshfegh's latest novel. This is her, I think, fourth novel, but it's the second novel that I've ever read by her. Well, first one that I've technically read by her. I did listen to My Year of Rest and Relaxation on audiobook a couple of years ago, and I really enjoyed it. At least with My Year of Rest and Relaxation, it's either a love it or hate it type book. And I know that the main character can be insufferable, which the main character was, but I think it was intentional. Anywho, but this book by George Lapvona. Let's talk about this. So this came out at the end of June in 2022, and I read this as a buddy read with Stephanie from Miss Richards Reads and Matt from various Discords. This was Stephanie, Matt's, and I's Hot Girl Summer book. The summary on this, or blurb, whatever it's called, does not do this book justice. It really sets a probably wrong expectation of this book. It is a novel that is definitely literary, but there are elements of this, there's this like fable, fairy tale-esque type quality to it. Really, George? Matt really described it very, very well in that there is this kind of George. I think Matt described it really well when he described it as having this kind of farcical quality to it. I would add to that and say it's farcical in its depravity. This novel needs to have all of the trigger warnings. It is just disgusting and almost unreadable in regards to what happens on the page, but you also at the same time can't look away. Like, I think this is another book where you're either going to love it or you're going to hate it. With that said, what is it actually about? So, it is about the titular town of Lapvona, and it's this made-up European-esque town set in a medieval period. It takes place over a year period, and it has sections starting with spring, and then going to summer, fall, winter, and then ending on the next spring. And it's just centering on this town and the people in it, and it mainly focuses on and centers around a boy who doesn't know who his mother is, and he has a very abusive father, and there's also this really interesting relationship that he has with this witch woman that lives in the town, and he has disfigurements, and it goes into it like why he has these disfigurements, and it's just, I feel like saying anything about it is going to ruin the experience, so I will just leave it at that. Is this a book that is objectively the best book ever written and is absolutely incredible? No, probably, but for me, it's a 4.5 star, almost 5-star read, and it worked for me and my weird ass brain. Let's be honest. Nothing should have worked for me. The writing is surface level. The characters are caricatures at best. The violence and the action are gratuitous to the nth degree, but it's just, everything works, and I think it's because of the way that Ottessa Moshfegh writes. Just the way that she puts words together really works for me. The way that she tells not only this story, but from what I remember of My Year in Rest and Relaxation, that novel as well, it's just, I love the way that she puts words together and tells stories, and this is one that is one to be experienced whether you like it or not, I think. And it's just, I don't know what else to say. Like, it's just so good. The more that I've thought about this, so I read a book earlier this year called The Summer That Melted Everything by Tiffany McDaniel. And this is similar to that book, but the reason that this worked so much better for me than The Summer That Melted Everything, which, if you didn't know, I gave The Summer That Melted Everything 1 star, is that The Summer That Melted Everything follows one character through this also made up town that has this kind of mythic fable like element to the story. And in The Summer That Melted Everything, the character felt very passive, whereas the main character, even though it does follow multiple characters, the main character here, he was much more active in his choices and in the plot. And even though you really don't like any of the characters in this book, they felt very, you just couldn't look away and you had to find out what was happening and how depraved these characters are and what else they could and would do. And it's just, it's so good. This just feels like a dark, disgusting literary fable slash fairy tale thing, and it just really worked for me. If you're going to read the novel, definitely let me know. I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you read it and don't like it, please don't blame me. And then if you also have read it, I would love to hear your thoughts as well. So I guess I'm a Ottessa Mosh. I guess I'm a Ottessa Mos. I guess I'm a Ottessa Moshfegh fangirl. Yeah.